It's a brand new series here to the IHOLDSHIFT YouTube channel, as I'll be doing in-depth analysis with drawings and colors and all the cool things that you want to see for all of the pro teams that you care about. And this week, we're starting off with eUnited in their set versus OpTic to finish off week number 12 of the CWL regular season. Guys, I'm so excited to be able to bring you guys this. If you are a longtime follower of this channel, I did one of these previously where I was editing in a bunch of shapes and lines and zoom ins and zoom outs. It took an actual eternity to get that video done. Fortunately, I was able to find a program that essentially serves as a telestrator, so I can go back into YouTube videos and just screen record me drawing on the different mini-maps and things like that to give you some analysis of the sets as they come. So, we'll be doing a lot of this. I'm very excited to have it. I'll be doing them all live on stream, while then also editing some of the stuff and getting it in a more compact form for you guys to get things on the YouTube channel. This will likely be a little bit longer because of this intro, so don't expect this every single time. Let's dig into it. We've got Arsenal Hardpoint between eUnited and OpTic Gaming. Let's break it down. And both teams actually not terrible at this map. OpTic in their history are 6-2 on this map. eUnited's technically 8-8, but they've actually played it a lot better in their last 5 to 6 matches. So it should be pretty interesting to see how this will all pan out. And again, for this map, there's a lot of things you have to consider about how you take the spawns versus how you're going to be just going for the hills themselves. Most specifically, you look at the trophy hill in specific, that's really big for that, and the jet statue, that's really big for that. The other ones are a little bit more controversial as far as how you want to play things out. So take a look to see how things go. Again, OpTic have been making a lot of changes as well as far as what they're running. So we got to make sure that we're just being careful about how that all looks. So a lot of play back and forth, headshot to headshot. Arcides, and well, okay, Arcides is going to clean things up with that's just ICR wins, honestly. The setup was fine, really, for both teams. But again, it's just the ICRs of eUnited win things out. So then all of a sudden you're able to find a little bit of a split here. So OpTic are going to be able to find a way to start to hit in a little bit of a pinch. You're going to see players coming from every single direction, trying to pinch things through. And now the Sogs and Maddoxes start to line things up for eUnited. Crimsic is able to win things from the front. So for the side of eUnited, you're going to be able to spawn from the backside. And now you have to make a move. How are you going to get to the back? You're going to see them try to hit from a little bit of a funnel this way. And that's going to be really big as far as where they spawn. So when you take a look at how the minimap is going, you're actually getting OpTic spawning right back in this area while they kind of split spawned. So there's a lot of things that they have to be careful of as far as how they move to this next hill. eUnited still try to hit the back, and they're able to okay, so we'll pause things here really quickly. So what essentially happened that time around, as we'll just go backwards really quickly here, you'll see that OpTic is actually spawning all over the map after they take things. So right here, OpTic is actually spawning pretty far all over the map. And it's leaving things very interesting because they had a couple of players. Remember, they spawned on this side of the half the map to start. But since you're looking at the side of eUnited, they are able to work things. They spawned back in this area, pushed through on both sides, which actually forces OpTic to spawn in a really terrible spot because they had a couple members spawn up in here. But now you can actually see it's going to be Crimsic that's spawning out by Jet Statue. So even though you get the last couple of seconds here on the hill, if you're eUnited, or if you're OpTic rather, it's going to be eUnited with this double hit, trying to win the back spawns first. They give this up with plenty of time, and the whole idea is to try to take this area of the map as best as they possibly can. So it really comes on what Pristini does here in this fight versus number one, that's Karma, who's sitting right in this area. So this is the fight that we really want to be able to watch to see what exactly is going to happen for these back spawns. eUnited wants to have the control, though. That's the biggest thing as they move on forward. So as we start things back up again, you're going to see that fight actually coming to fruition pretty quickly. Karma's watching it, and this is actually great from Paradox's point of view if you're looking to get into production. Paradox does a really good job of making sure he switches over to watch this fight happen. So we'll actually see Pristini take this 1v1. He's able to find Karma for free. So now as we go back, take a look at how these spawns are able to develop. as you're actually going to see the spawns are not fully controlled, but pretty darn close for eUnited. They spawn pretty close. And mostly this is because you see RCDs is up in this area, and you also have number 5, which is Dashy, just sitting inside the hill. So you're still not winning the point completely, but the information for Clayster and what is Simp is going to be just, again, to push into the backside, and then as soon as they're making sure they won, they go into the front. And with OpTic spawning all over the map, this is a very difficult retake for them because they're spawning here, and likely they'll also spawn way back in here to kind of get things going on this next hit. That's exactly what happens. So number 4, that's Scump, who just spawns out in the back. So the point goes in favor of eUnited. It's a really good flip of the spawns, and now you can essentially just watch everything from the ramp side. You can see exactly how they want to try to hit this if you're looking at this from the perspective of eUnited. They want to try to set up some kind of a front while also making sure they have somebody in the back to watch things up in the backside. So for OpTic, if you're spawning, your whole idea is to try to hit, and you're flooding right now. You're just flooding from the front side. And none of these kills are going all that well, but they're only able to do this simply because, or the only reason why they choose to keep doing this is because they have no other way to hit this. So now, as you're dealing with 10 seconds left, this is really, really difficult as a situation for OpTic, because if you switch back over to the minimap, you can see exactly how where they're spawning. They're all spawning right here. They will have the ability to essentially make a move to hit the backside of this from backstairs, but there's so much time right now that eUnited is already trying to flip things and move from the front. So as they're hitting from the front and OpTic is hitting from the back, technically OpTic will also have to hit from lobby just to make sure they have some extra pressure. But because OpTic is not quite there yet, eUnited's gonna be able to contest these spawns to where no one is going to probably spawn back in this direction, and people will likely be spawning for eUnited right back in here, and OpTic will likely be spawning right back in here. So it keeps a 50-50 play going. This is a really, really smart rotation coming out of eUnited.
Nice play from Clay.
So we'll see if that actually comes true. RC's is playing his life very nicely, and they're able to win a couple of trades, but again, we'll see where this spawn comes through. Look at this spawn. This is absolutely terrible for OpTic. They spawn completely out. This is awful. The fact that Crimsic spawns here is terrible. Beyond that, you take a look at what's happening for eUnited, and they've already won one of the fights on top of the hill. So again, this is just awful situation coming in for OpTic. They're not able to get a very easy rotation. RCDs doesn't win that fight, which is terrible for him. And so now all of a sudden, with OpTic in control of the back, they should be able to swing things back in their favor for the spawns. That's indeed the case. So this is now up to OpTic to hit from the front, because you see eUnited is trying to do a little bit of a split hit as they're going to send one player through lobby. They also spawn number 7 in the back, so they can actually hit from the lobby, but they lose 2 over the middle, and that's awful for the side of eUnited. So this is going to be OpTic trying to find a full hold, and they likely should be able to grab most of that simply due to the time on the clock, but mostly you take a look at just what's been going on with this hill itself, and it's only allowing a one-sided dimensional flip coming through, as eUnited's going to be only be able to push from one side. So now with 20 seconds left, you go back to the minimap, and you're going to see eUnited's going to give this up and then immediately start going for the next hill. This is a 50-50 hill coming forward. So if you're OpTic, you're fine playing for as long as possible on the old hill and then just rotating in late, because you can rotate long side through elevator or through the window. Technically, this rotation should be pretty free then, only because the fact that TJ is in the middle, and he's going to be able to scout out that nobody's middle of the map. So this area should be going to OpTic as well as this right now. And honestly, again, because it's such a 50-50 hill, you're gonna know that eUnited's only in one direction. So this is a really great spot for the side of OpTic to be at the moment. And now it's eUnited set up on the hill first. Again, you can take a look. eUnited is set up first. So for OpTic, you still have the middle of the map. Like we mentioned, Dashy is currently there. TJ wasn't able to win his first fight, but at least they get the information. Prestidy, some reason, goes and pushes out. And this is actually a huge win coming from OpTic. The fact that they're able to win the inside middle portion of the map is massive for them. So now they have control, again, like you mentioned, of dominating control here, but they've also won a couple of kills to give them control of the point, and they're still spawning on the back side. So now you can just focus all of your attention. Crim should essentially just be watching the mid lobby, and everybody else should be watching the ramp and the jump spot here coming forward. We'll see if that actually ends up becoming the case. Grim actually jumps into the hill and rotates back, mostly because he has an ICR, and Scump is going to be the one actually. You see Scump actually rotates over number 4. He's the one who will watch the middle jump from that window side. So that's exactly how they decided to set that up, put the SMG up close and personal. Blood from the front looks pretty good. It is getting fought back though, and Karma has to jump in with the double ICR, and that's really where the double ICR struggles, is when you have to put a last second contest because you're the last player left. So the fact that eUnited wins the fight with their SMGs and Maddoxes allows them to contest this, and now RCDs can just watch, and that's actually a huge wallbang. Take a look at the score, 81-77. OpTic is able to win, but again, this next rotation is coming through, and eUnited is going to be in a downside here. They're going to be in the downswing because they have to fight things back from the front, as they're going to be hitting from right through, because they spawn jet, they're going to be hitting right from the flooding from the front rather, while OpTic is control of the back spawns, which will allow them to get here fast. Now, as this point goes forward, you have to be very mindful of how this rotation plays out, because what's going to happen here is you're going to be dealing with the hill. You initially want those back spawns, but for the second rotation, getting to the middle, you don't want to hold on to the back for too long. These are huge wins for OpTic. So now you can control the back for as long as you want. You can actually see on the mini-map, it's going to be Scump up front and Karma on the back, and they're just putting extra pressure on because they know they have control of the spawns. Watch the left side. They're going to spawn very close to the map. So they're going to force all the spawns to eUnited to spawn all the way out, which is exactly what Merc's talking about.
United kills in the kill feed. It's been all OpTic.
Christini trying to fight for the back, doesn't win his fight.
Yeah, they're just on point.
This is a great chokehold for OpTic.
Karma, what a brilliant setup from him. 150 now off streaks.
The longer Karma stays alive, the better. He does lose it. So now 20 seconds left. Last flood is about to come through here. This is the last attempt for eUnited. They're all coming from the mid lobby towards kitchen, and they're just going to flood on in. If they win this fight, they will have control of the hill, and they'll know exactly where OpTic is spawning. So you just put up a wall here and make sure that nobody comes through those two doorways, and you've got yourself up for the second rotation through. This is actually a really smart play from this side of eUnited. You know that OpTic is playing very aggressively up in here and back in here. So what do? You just go ahead off your spawn, which is happening in this middle lobby area, and then push through mid robotics, and you get yourself into the kitchen. You just absolutely give yourself the numbers on point. This is a really good adjustment from eUnited.
35 seconds into this hard point.
And they win the fight because of the numbers, simply. So now again, OpTic is coming from the backside. Yeah, this is absolutely terrible for OpTic. Yeah, you get a good significant amount of time, but it's not that big. Like, the last 20 seconds go to eUnited, and they have control for the second rotation. This is huge for eUnited. Now, very quickly, let's take a look at what specialists are about to come up here, because there's a lot of things that could happen in these next handful of seconds. Karma's got himself a grab slam, TJ's got himself nearly a battery war machine, and Dashy's very close to the Tempest. On the opposite side, you take a look at eUnited, and they're actually right about on par, but Abizi's kind of slow to get his grab slam. You would love to have grab slam on this opening hit towards the second rotation, because you can immediately clear a point off. The battery war machine is also very good, so just kind of keep in mind as far as what's going to be coming up next, as far as what to expect for specialists to start kind of winning either rotations or decidedly take control time of the hill. As soon as you start seeing specialists pop, you need to be focusing on one of those two things to try to get, again, just more impact on the overall game objective.
And it can get you right back into the game. If there's a lightning strike, if there's a hellstorm that OpTic can put through that ceiling and break that setup.
And nobody's working towards streaks really at the moment for either team. Abizi's playing a very important role. And again, just look at the chokehold. And Sip's gonna, okay, so popping the war machine, Sip is really all sitting here just saying that, all right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and pop war. I'm only responsible for Sip to only watch one side. He's responsible for everything coming out of here, which will mean that now that he has information that his teammates are spawning close, that he's gonna have to turn around. He clears off two, and that means that OpTic is going to be spawning on the opposite side of the map, which is, again, awful for them. This is a good play for eUnited. They come off respawn, which I believe was by Jet, and they push through this side immediately with 30 seconds. You can still contest on the way back, but while you're making this rotation, it's forcing OpTic, who were spawning on this side, to immediately spawn on the opposite side. This is just good control of the map coming out of the side of eUnited. OpTic has to make the choice. Do you go for the hill, or do you go backwards? And RCD pops the Tempest. He doesn't find the one in the vent, but he shuts shuts down all of that play over the middle portion of lobby, which is absolutely huge. So now attack 5. This is okay, so this decision coming out of the side of eUnited, they use a lot, right? They use the War Machine. They've got Tempest currently out. They pop tac 5. The whole idea here is if you could use those 3 kind of sequentially and kind of cyclical, where you use one and then the other and then the other, you can not only win decided time on the hill, but the whole idea is, as you go back to the minimap, is that you're trying to win everything as you try to rotate into the backside. Pardon me, wrong color. If you're trying to get to the backside here, you're trying to win the initial hold. This is the whole idea of using these 3 specialists, is to get 2 hills in a row and give you a significant lead. You want to try to build your lead by at least 30, if not 45 seconds here, just to give yourself a little bit more of an advantage. Let's see if they're able to do it, though, because, again, there's a lot of tools available for the side of OpTic as they make this rotation happen. Watch for Dashy to win this fight back here.
The pressure on Arcides.
And Dashy wins the fight in the back, but he does get traded, so OpTic should still be spawning out, and eUnited should be spawning in. Tac 5 is pretty much neutralized for everybody. Just Clayster and Arcides has it. Pristini's able to win another big fight. And again, OpTic, how do you play this? Because they're going to have to force, like Merc just said, they're going to have to force their way through the front.
He snaps onto a BZ going for the grab. He had a little bit of help.
And again, BZ, he wants to use that grab slam just to lock things down. But again, this is huge. This is absolutely huge play coming out of the side of eUnited. Again, you use a lot, but Arcides gets full streaks. And that's massive for eUnited. The fact that you get Arcides fully streaked out comes off the solo play with the Tempest, but also the tac 5 to keep him alive, and the fact that you use the War Machine to give a zone of fire. So Arcides knows exactly what to look like. This is absolutely brilliant play from eUnited as far as executing specialists into score streaks, as well as just generally time. They were down by about 20 seconds. Now you're up by 5, and you have control of the minimap. So again, you have control of the backside. You're able to hit this hill pretty nicely. This is going to be really, really great for the side of eUnited. If you're OpTic, you need to use something here. You just shut down the grab slam. Do you use something to break this hill? You've got a couple of options in front of you, as again, you could be dealing with not only the grab slam, but you also have War Machine and Tempest. The likely thing that'll probably come out is likely going to be War Machine. You wouldn't anticipate seeing a Tempest on this hill. It's just not a very good hill for it.
Couple teammates drop, he might, but not gonna.
And maybe you don't have to use anything. If you win these gunfights, you might just be able to break. But again, maybe you use something here to hold off the spawns. That's a big play from Simp. And they actually force out the Hellstorm, but that's a huge play from eUnited. Again, you just use what you have. What's the point of holding on to it? I love that play from eUnited. And actually, take a look at this really quickly. This is a very dangerous play from OpTic as they're trying to flood things from this side. Fortunately, they win these fights so they can rotate back. But again, BZ in the backline has had a really, really important role to play. He doesn't win the fight completely, but still. It's a really risky play from OpTic to zone this far. This is a really bold play. Again, you take a look at it. OpTic is so far up the map. If Crim wins these 2 fights, and all of a sudden, if you're eUnited and you win one of these fights in the back, you're actually going to flip spawns here to where eUnited will likely spawn here. And OpTic, if you're not too careful, you might spawn, if Crimson wins these fights, you might spawn out here, which is not great because eUnited would be able to win the rotation in for spawns. So it's going to be interesting to see, I think, was what actually occurs this next fight.
They're just so spread out. He might not.
Crim loses. Dashy's zoning up. He's able to win one in the back L.
Dashy at that back elbow. This is where OpTic Gaming had a really nice hold, and they started.
And this is going really well for OpTic. Lightning Strike now comes through. It does find one, but again, I don't know if I like the call to use that there necessarily. You take a look again at the minimap, and who are you going to kill with this? I guess is the biggest question, because the only players that have really made themselves available is the one player on point and the one player in the back. Now, the reason why you use this is because you've got 2 players hitting from here, and you're hoping that players will funnel into you at lobby, and maybe one will funnel in from the back. You're trying to get all these OpTic players into cover, so that way you can win fights, and that way you can try to flip the spawns. That's the whole idea as far as using that here. And it does find one player up front.
This is where OpTic Gaming had a really nice hold.
But the fact that TJ works his way in and wins both fights with Scump is massive. Oh, but actually, okay, so the spawn actually does come through into the backside. But it's kind of, yeah, I was about to say, it's not really far enough back. OpTic still spawns in the back as well. So this is, again, OpTic will have a chance to re-hit this pretty quickly. Do you use something to take this? Again, I would love to have seen OpTic use something right now. 20 seconds left, so now it's all about how you rotate, and OpTic's going to give this away. Take a look at it. OpTic's going to rotate up to the north. eUnited, they're going to make their way around to the back. OpTic's here first. Scump again, he's been the one responsible for this window. Tempest is going to be used to zone out the front. And the Vision Pulse comes through for Prestini. So yeah, this is really good play from eUnited. I don't know if it's a situation that they know exactly what's going to be coming from OpTic. Again, as far as specialists go, there's a lot of things that were about to be ready to go. You've got the Grav Slam that's ready to go. You had Lightning, the Tempest, pardon me, that was used. You also had War Machine that was close. So Prestini just go ahead and he pops himself the Vision Pulse just to make sure that eUnited has vision over where everybody is. And then you start to play for those crucial picks. So already you get one shutdown coming through. Beyond that, you're also winning some fights on the hill. And Scump is in a tough spot. He's got to worry about both sides because of this pinch. That's a huge win from Scump. If he wins another one here, this is massive. Uses the concussion. Dash, he's able to win one over the middle. Karma looking for maybe a grab slam. That's huge that OpTic are able to hold on. TJ's going to use the War Machine now that the Vision Pulse is faded away. And it doesn't really find a lot of value. That's actually pretty massive. So again, Tempest shut down, War Machine shut down, Karma still doesn't use Grav. Crimsix is not even already at the Vision Pulse yet. You just take a look at the KDs. And again, TJ 16 and 22, 15 and 20 for Crim. Just the ARs are getting a little bullied here. Arcitys is 24 and 16, Clayster's 17 and 16. It's just the ARs that are currently winning the fight right now for eUnited, which is why they have a little bit of a lead.
Make a wild run in the final moments. Let's go to an Astro Gaming listen-in with OpTic Gaming.
We'll see if we hear anything here.
Play dead. I got vision. I got vision.
That's all dead, all
You'll
dead.
get the back.
Yeah,
I'm not using it. One's on middle. Two on middle.
I'm blocking.
Screen box. I'm gonna pop vision off spawn.
Okay, so
One guy front.
this is actually going to be massive. So he says he's going to pop vision off of spawn. So what is this going to get you info on? You're going to be reading all of this hit from eUnited, which is going to be essentially a split hit. With number 8, Prestini, as he won that last fight, he's going to be rotating through lights. You also have a hit coming through kitchen, and then you have 3 coming from the front, or maybe just 2 because number 7's still back here. So maybe what you're doing, if you read this properly, is that Prestini's going to try to hit the back, 2 are going to try to hit from kitchen, and 2 are going to try to hit from the front. This is going to split OpTic up pretty heavily, but again, with the vision that's being utilized, TJ's in a great spot to read this, as he's going to be hiding in a corner. You also have a corner play here, and you're going to have players that'll likely be focusing to make sure the back is being held. So this vision play is going to be massive right now for OpTic if they can hold this and try to put their way back into Evolved.
Play front dead. Big guns.
Watch
Alright,
this
go,
bit.
the front. Watch the backside.
And again, take a look at how they're watching this.
This guy. Focus on Prestini, Seth.
Pristine lights, one shot.
Another one, 2 more front, 1 vent,
Alright, I'm
2
coming,
tree
I'm
block.
Pristine dead, Pristine
Two
to light
trees.
block.
Hold the back.
Yo, 2 front, last 2 front.
Hold tail, Seth. Hold tail.
Massive for OpTic. Absolutely massive.
Kitchen.
And Karma still is Grav.
Trophy block, clay still.
I have kitchen. I don't know where they spawn. Yo, one guy vent.
So now that vision is worn off, it's going to be on the play from eUnited to make a decision. They spawn essentially in the backside of mid, as well as at where Old Hill was. So what they do is they again send 2 players up mid, 2 players for the back, and they had 1 player still sitting in the front that gets ripped. Now the problem here is the fact that there's 30 seconds left. So if this does not go successfully for you, if you're eUnited, you then have to make a decision of, do you just control the middle, or do you try to play for 1 more hit from the front? The problem becomes, if you even take a long time winning this fight, you're going to be spawning back here if you're eUnited, and OpTic will be spawning on the opposite side where they can set themselves up for a rotation. eUnited could technically win off of this hill, but it would be very difficult to really see that happening based on how this is going to be contested likely.
Might be
Going the
backside.
back on me.
Yeah, they should be going around.
And again, remember that Karma still has a grab slam, hasn't even attempted to use it yet.
Go in pocket or kitchen.
Yo, front vent.
They clean up the back. This is huge for OpTic. So now they can get full time here as long as they clean up the front.
I'm gonna make
Yo,
a spawn in the back.
OpTic have made the run behind some incredible communication and a fantastic use of the vision.
Ooh, Karma.
Now lead change back to OpTic.
See, this is why Karma shouldn't be running an ICR. I get what you're going for, but Karma's an aggressive player. He's a playmaker. If he's got a Maddox, he wins this fight. See, look, like, again, he wants to break the front here. He wants to break it and make sure there's no secure spot for eUnited, but you don't want to be able to do this with an ICR, especially considering that you're going to be expecting people to be sitting on the left and right. He feels like he can win it, goes in for the hip fire, not able to grab it. But at least you're able to contest. Third rotation. Karma with a grab slam. Abizi with another grab slam. Karma opens up. That's big. So now you take a look back at the minimap really quickly. I guess we could do that as this unfolds. OpTic's going to be hitting from the front side, from main lobby, and eUnited spawning in from the back. So they're trying to hit this.
You have the grab slam. He's just going to use it to contest. Does he challenge? He over-challenged it. All you had to do was stay alive.
245.
And I think he just...
Big win from Pristini and Window. And now you can contest, and it's going to be down to the grab slam of Abizi. Can he find a way to break into this? Uses it, finds one. It's still a big kill. Abizi needs to stay alive and not able to do it. So, big play at the end. Huge play at the end for OpTic. On the yep. Clint hits it perfectly.
It's a strenuous one, but they get the map 1 win.
So again, just kind of a final recap thought on that. Again, eUnited played the second rotation, or the end of the first rotation freaking perfectly. Again, they strung together all of their specialists and got them to a point where they could turn those into not only consecutive hills, but also score streaks for Arcades. The problem was that they had to use the lightning strike just to try to open up some space onto that P2. During the jet statue, or pardon me, P3 during the jet statue. They weren't able to find as much value with it as I think they would have liked. The good news for eUnited was that you forced out some pretty sloppy specialists for OpTic, but it doesn't make a difference when OpTic played the last 3 hills of the second rotation as perfectly as they did, going from jet to that neutral hill by the gun batteries, and then into trophy as well. They played those perfectly, and unfortunately, you know, you go back to that karma moment that I mentioned. Yeah, he loses on the second of those 2 gunfights that he has, but the fact that he's able to find the first starts chaos spawning eUnited all over the map. And then you saw, like, exactly like Clint and Joe were talking about, Sogs and Maddoxes just started winning it for OpTic to win those crucial little 1v1 moments. And it's small moments like that keep that middle hill in chaos, and that's what leads to just small little advantages that OpTic was able to fortunately clean up. And I guess unfortunately for eUnited, I actually didn't get a chance to see, do they actually end up earning another set of streaks? Or pardon me, specialists. They don't. So it just came down to 1 set of specialists that came through. OpTic, of course, like we saw, Karma does get another grab slam at the end here, doesn't actually use it, but eUnited's not able to earn a second set of specialists just because of that Vision Pulse play that Crimsix was able to pull off during that trophy hill hold. So outside of Abizi earning another grab slam, no other second set of specialists. It was just a pretty fast and full throttle arsenal. Sometimes these maps go to second set of specialists. This one was pretty much convincing hills one way or the other. So the fact that there's still 2 minutes on the clock, game clock, just kind of goes to show that the hills weren't very generally contested, nor were there a lot of kind of like 50-50 hills. It was either like a couple of initial points that were won or lost just kind of decidedly, which is why the game kind of lasted as short as it did. I really hope you guys enjoy this series. These videos were a lot of fun to do live. And again, I do these live on my Twitch stream. I'm going to try to do them twice a week for about 2 to 3 hours or so, breaking down the matches that you guys want to look at and hear about. So make sure you jump over to my Twitch and give me a little bit of a follow there if you want to get notifications on when I go live. But beyond that, we're so close to 10K subs. I really, truly hope that if this content is the first you've seen of me, you enjoy it and you'll think about coming back to watch future videos, whether they be recaps, analysis, or news pieces alike. Again, a pleasure being with you guys. Hopefully we'll catch you for the next one. Until then, hope you all keep holding it down. Later. Bye-bye.